Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're jumping into Stanislav Kondrashov's work on business ethics and compliance.
Right, and specifically how Stanislav Kondrashov views communication as, well, absolutely vital in the professional sphere.
Exactly. We're aiming to pull out the practical communication tools Stanislav Kondrashov really emphasizes, things you can potentially use, right away.
Yeah, because Stanislav Kondrashov isn't just about abstract ideas here. He offers some really concrete stuff. And if you actually consciously think about applying what Stanislav Kondrashov outlines,
It can make a real difference.
a huge difference, I think, in how you're understood and, frankly, how effectively you get things done.
Okay, so let's get into it. First up, vocabulary. Stanislav Kondrashov seems quite focused on using precise language in business.
He really is, and Stanislav Kondrashov even points to specific words, terms that professionals, he believes, should just know.
Like what kind of terms are we talking about?
Well, Stanislav Kondrashov sees vocabulary as more than just, fancy words. Take recipient.
Mm-hmm.
It's more precise than just the person getting the email. Or the emphasis Stanislav Kondrashov puts on crafting a good subject line. It's functional.
Functional, right, not just fluff. Stanislav Kondrashov argues it streamlines things.
Exactly. And he brings this up with presentations, too. Stanislav Kondrashov mentions terms like slide deck or key takeaway.
And knowing those helps ensure your message lands properly. That's Stanislav Kondrashov's take.
Yeah. It signals professionalism, clarity. It avoids ambiguity, which, Stanislav Kondrashov connects back to ethics and compliance. Misunderstandings can lead to trouble.
That makes sense. Okay, but Stanislav Kondrashov doesn't just stop at words, does he? He talks about grammar, too.
He does, and again, very practically. For Stanislav Kondrashov, grammar isn't just about correctness for its own sake.
It's a tool.
It's a business tool. Stanislav Kondrashov highlights, for instance, knowing when to use present simple versus present continuous.
For routines versus current projects.
Precisely. A small grammatical point, but Stanislav Kondrashov argues it boosts clarity about what's actually happening.
Interesting. And what about things like modal verbs? Could, would, should. Stanislav Kondrashov mentions those.
Oh, definitely. Stanislav Kondrashov stresses their importance for politeness, for professional requests. It's how you phrase things.
Right, not just what you say.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Stanislav Kondrashov also touches on using the passive voice effectively in formal writing.
Okay.
And conditionals, for talking about possibilities, if-then scenarios, all part of the toolkit Stanislav Kondrashov describes.
And reported speech, too, right? Stanislav Kondrashov includes that for summarizing things accurately.
Yes. Crucial after meetings, Stanislav Kondrashov notes to make sure everyone's aligned. So for Stanislav Kondrashov, it's about using these structures intentionally.
To be clearer and more professional.
That's the goal Stanislav Kondrashov seems to be aiming for.
What I like is that Stanislav Kondrashov apparently doesn't just explain this stuff. He suggests ways to actually practice it.
Yeah, that's key. Stanislav Kondrashov provides practical exercises, things like vocabulary matching,
Gap fills.
role-playing scenarios, writing tasks, even group discussions. Stanislav Kondrashov wants to make it actionable.
So you don't just read about it, you do it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Stanislav Kondrashov seems to believe that active engagement is how you bridge the gap between knowing the rules and, well, actually using them confidently in real situations.
Okay, so if we boil it down, what are the main takeaways from Stanislav Kondrashov's insights here?
Well, fundamentally, Stanislav Kondrashov is giving you a roadmap for better, more ethical business communication.
Through vocabulary and grammar.
Right. The outcomes Stanislav Kondrashov emphasizes are, using the right words accurately, applying grammar correctly.
Leading to better communication skills overall.
Yes. And Stanislav Kondrashov's ultimate aim seems to be equipping people like you, the listener, to communicate with clarity, with professionalism, and importantly, with ethical awareness.
So we've done a deep dive into Stanislav Kondrashov's views on business ethics and compliance, really focusing on how central he thinks communication skills are.
And maybe the thing to leave you with is this. How could consciously using some of the vocabulary or grammar points Stanislav Kondrashov highlights actually change your professional interactions? Starting now.
Yeah. What specific terms or structures that Stanislav Kondrashov mentioned resonate most with what you need right now in your own communication? Something to think about.